Simistic that's here again to talk to you about what I bought and what I watched today. And you may notice some things are moving around a little bit in my room. I mean, for the most part, this shelf's still here. These shelves are still here, but the VHS tapes are put on there a little bit differently. Then these shelves are now arranged a bit differently as well. I'm just sort of moving some things around a little bit. Not going too crazy with the room. There's only so much moving around I could do in this room. It's not that big. But I'm making a little bit of room by switching some things around. I can add another shelf in here now. So just moving some things around. So if you're wondering why some things have changed, that's why. Now as far as what I bought today, I actually headed out to my local Goodwill and picked myself up 5 titles. So let's take a look at what I got. Each of these titles I paid only 10 cents for, and the first one I picked up was Honeymoon in Vegas. A movie I once saw on TV. I do remember liking it, so I definitely had to grab myself a copy of it, and I look forward to checking it out again. Then I picked up Bank Shot, starring the great George C. Scott, Patton himself. This movie here looks fantastic. Looks to be a great crime caper movie. I'm sure it's going to be full of a lot of great tense moments, probably a lot of funny moments as well. This looks to be a great watch. Also, really love the artwork. The next title I picked up was Deep Star 6, a movie I've heard of but really know nothing about. What really drove me to this and what really interested me in this movie was the artwork. It is fantastic. It's somewhat plain and simple, but I love it. It's got the bottom of the ocean here, I guess that's what that is. And then it's got this half-eaten diving suit, the title right under it. It's actually really, really well done artwork that actually really drew me into this. So for that alone, had to pick it up. But like I said, I have heard of the movie and I've heard good things, so I look forward to checking it out. Then I grabbed Terra Firma 2, the video. This year being a motocross film, already have Terra Firma, I think 1 or 3, something like that. So I figured definitely had to pick this one up. I watched that one. It was good. It is what it is, though. It's just a motocross video. If that's your thing, then you're going to be into it. This is actually brand new, almost never opened. You can see the shrink wrap actually starting to come off it, but it's never been watched, so that was a great deal. And the last I picked up was Labyrinth. Now, obviously, I already own this movie on other formats like DVD. It's a great movie. I absolutely love it. I think we can all agree that it's a fantastic film. But the reason why I really wanted to get this VHS copy is because look at that artwork. That is fantastic. So I'm picking this one up just for collecting purposes, for the fantastic artwork. That was in great shape, too. This artwork is in fantastic shape. Not a single blemish on it. So definitely had to pick this one up for 10 cents. Again, just for collecting purposes. So that's what I bought today, so now it's what I watched. And today I actually checked out 2 titles, and the first one was AFI's 100 Years, 100 Movies. This is just what it is. If you've seen, and I'm sure we all have seen, the AFI lists of their top 100 movies of all time, that is what this is, just in video form. Apparently this once aired on TV, and it features guest appearances from people like Sally Field, Whoopi Goldberg, Samuel L. Jackson, some directors and other actors and actresses. Bill Clinton at one point makes an appearance on here. They're just doing little appearances where they say, yo, here's what I really liked about this movie for like 30 seconds or 15 seconds, and then they show a small little clip. And that's kind of my problem with this this video, is the fact that if they want to talk about the top 100 movies, I would like them to really kind of discuss them. Like, here's, number 100, and say why, and give you a little bit about the movie, and maybe have some people tell you what they thought about the movie, as opposed to just spending maybe, like, I would say maybe a minute on each movie. It's got to be, like, 30 seconds to a minute on each film. They show you a small little clip. Somebody says, oh, I really like this movie because of this, and then they go to the next film right away. And for that, I just kind of thought, oh, that's, it just seemed really rushed, I guess you would say. But then again, this is, like I said, it was shown on TV, so I guess they only had a certain time lot that they could take up. But I thought it could have been better done. Could have been something like, if you ever seen That's Entertainment, those are fantastic films, and they talk a lot about each movie they're talking about in those films. So I was hoping for something more like That's Entertainment, where they went into a little bit more depth. I mean, we don't need a history lesson. We don't need to know everything about the movie, but just something more than just a minute on each movie would have been nice. Of course, I'm sure you all saw this one coming. I saw it coming. If you're wondering, the number 1 movie, the number 1 American movie of all time was, of course, Citizen Kane. A nice big groan came out of me when they said that. I like Citizen Kane. I think it's a great movie. I would never deny that it's not a fantastic film. The movie is fantastic. I absolutely love the movie. I will 100% say that it changed how movies were made. I know the movie, you know, was groundbreaking. A lot of new techniques were used in that movie, a lot of new ways of shooting and cinematography and all that stuff. So yes, the movie was groundbreaking, and I would say one of the most influential movies of all time. Sure, of course. But the greatest movie of all time? I will never agree to that. I will never say Citizen Kane is the greatest movie of all time. I just can't say it. It's not. I'm sorry. A good movie. I definitely say, yeah, it should be well up there in the top 100 movies. Definitely within the top 10, probably, of the top 100 greatest American movies of all time. But number one, no. I mean, it beat out things like Wizard of Oz. It's Wizard of Oz. I think Wizard of Oz was only like 3 or something like that, and like Godfather was 2, or just, you know, I just don't agree with these lists. And I think a lot of us are like that. If you've seen, look them up if you haven't seen it, but AFI, I think every year or so puts out a list of their top 100 movies of all time, and, you know, everybody always argues about them. And rightfully so, because everybody has their own opinions of what the greatest movies of all time would be, what number one's going to be. I mean, my favorite movie of all time would be Young Frankenstein, you know? The fact that King Kong was on this but wasn't within the top 10, BS. King Kong is the greatest movie ever made. I mean, not my favorite movie, but probably the greatest movie ever made, if you ask me. It's just such a fantastic movie. King Kong should have been higher up. You know, it's things like that I completely disagree with this list. I would not put them in the same order. I would put different things on here that weren't on here. I would take some things out. There were some movies in here that I'm like, that's good, but top 100, I don't know. Stuff like that. So, a fun watch, but, you know, very subjective. You're going to be watching this going, oh, I don't like that movie, or that one should have been here, that one should have been there. You're going to be thinking that the entire time. Had they done it more like That's Entertainment, where they talked a little bit more about the movies, it would have been more fun to watch, just because you wouldn't be watching a list so much as you'd be watching something more in depth, something where these people tell you a lot more about the films, as opposed to just like, oh, here's number 99, here's number 98, you know, stuff like that. It would have been a little bit more fun to watch. So all in all, when I say get this, it's okay. If you come across this VHS tape for cheap, I don't know if this is ever released on DVD. I don't think it was. So if you ever come across this for cheap, yeah, it's worth picking up and adding into the collection. I mean, it is AFI. It is, you know, great. It is about really good movies, you know. So I can't say this is a great watch, but it's, you know, it's about movies. So this is something to add to your collection if you come across it for cheap. But I wouldn't pay anything major for this. Come across it for, I'd say $1 or less. Yeah, pick it up, grab it, give it a watch. You'll probably enjoy it, but in the end, you're not going to absolutely love it. It's not the best watch ever. It was just okay. And of course, the lists, we're all going to have our own opinions on that. So as far as AFI's 100 Years, 100 Movies, yeah, it was alright. Now on to the second movie I watched today, and I actually had to give some credit to AFI's 100 Years, 100 Movies for actually making me want to watch this movie. Because that is one thing good I will say about that video, is the fact that in watching it, it actually made you want to see some movies. There are some movies in my collection, some, you know, classic movies in my collection that I haven't checked out yet, that after watching that video, I said, oh, you know, I really should get around to watching that one. You know, that one was pretty high up on the list. I should really check that movie out. And this is one of the movies that got really, you know, really high up on the list that I said, definitely need to watch this movie. You know, I haven't checked it out yet, but I've heard good things. I know it won all these awards. And that was Amadeus. Finally checking this one out. And I loved this film. I thought it was great. Just, it's such an interesting story. It's all about Antonio. I'm going to pronounce his last name wrong. It's Antonio Salieri or Salieri or something like that. I know, I should probably know his name. He's one of the main characters. He's a composer, and it's just so interesting to see how much he loves and admires Mozart. I mean, he reads his music and weeps. He goes to every single concert and play and that Mozart puts on. He is always there, no matter how big or how little or where it's located. He is there watching it, loving it. He thinks this guy is a genius. He praises and awards this guy. Just, you know, to see how much he loves Mozart is great. And what I love best is he loves him so much and admires him so much, it drives him insane. He is full of so much hatred and just jealousy all at the same time. I mean, he loves this guy so much and admires him so much that he absolutely hates him and despises him and does some truly evil things to Mozart. I mean, all this crazy stuff behind his back. And I guess I'm not giving this away too much. He kills him in the end. But What I won't give away is how he does it, because it's not what you would necessarily think. It's not like he goes out and shoots or stabs or something like that. It's a pretty crazy way of how he kills Mozart in the end of this movie. And it's so twisted the way he does it, too. I mean, I give credit to that. I mean, he could have just gone and shot him or stabbed him or something like that, which would have been like, oh, okay, whatever. You know, you hated him, he did that. But it's the way, like the psychological way he goes about killing him is just insane, and just shows you how crazy this guy is, and just how his, again, love and admiration for Mozart just drove him nuts and made him do some crazy, crazy things. The movie's a really fun watch, really well done. It's rather long, but it flew right by. It was really, really well done. I loved all the acting in it. I just loved the story. It was just such a good movie. I'm not going to get too much into it because there's not a lot to get into. I mean, I don't know how truthful this is. I don't really know the history of all the characters from this movie. But, you know, it sort of tells kind of about Mozart and the Salieri guy, you know, it sort of tells sort of their life and whatnot, just a little bit, kind of briefly tells you about the beginning of their lives, and then when they come to meet each other, then it tells basically their life from when they met to Mozart's death. It tells more about that. This whole time it's being told by Salieri, he's telling a priest, because he's in like a mental ward, because I guess he tried to kill himself in the beginning of the movie. Just such a good movie. It's winner of 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture from 1984, and you know, rightfully so. The movie was really, really well done. Again, a fantastic watch, and you know, it's not only that it was just a really well done movie for me. I mean, yeah, it was really well done, shot beautifully, beautifully acted. Everybody in the movie was great. But to watch a movie of somebody who can love somebody so much and admire somebody so much that it makes them crazy just blew me away. You know, I don't see things like that too much in movies, so I thought that was just so well done and such a great idea for a movie. Again, it might actually be truthful, actually. I mean, like, you know, I don't know. It does say on the front, the man, the music, the madness, the murder, the motion picture, Amadeus, everything you've heard is true. So, yeah, again, I don't know how truthful this is. It's Hollywood. They tend to, you know, elaborate on the truth a lot. So, how truthful this is, I don't absolutely know. But, you know, if it is a true story, it's amazing. But even if they did embellish it, it's still an amazing story. And I would highly, highly recommend checking out Amadeus. So that's it for what I bought and what I watched today. Definitely got some great titles, some goodwill. Also watching AFI's 100 Years, 100 Movies. Like I said, it was alright. It's a list that, you know, everybody's going to have their problems with. Of course, I had my problems with it. Definitely would have changed around some movies. Definitely would not have made Citizen Kane #1. But it was an okay watch. And for a movie collector, for a movie buff, it's definitely something you should probably have in the collection. And something that I would say, if you can find it for $1 or less on VHS, yeah, it's worth picking up. And also checking out Amadeus. Get that one. If you don't have it in your collection, buy it, watch it. You will love it. Just a really, really well done story. I just can't get over how much I actually enjoyed just that story of a guy loving somebody and admiring somebody so much that he goes completely insane and gets so jealous that he's driven to murder, but murder in such a twisted kind of way. So a great, great movie. Definitely check that one out. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to see what I bought when I watch tomorrow. See ya.